We're excited to welcome Erin Brewer of CDW to the stage.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Brewer. I am a team member of CDW. I expect there's a lot of IT people in this room, but if not, and you're not familiar with CDW, we are a technology solution and service provider and one of AWS's top partners, actually. So I'm going to actually speak today, excuse me, my hair is getting in the way of my mic. I'm going to speak today about a migration that we assisted a customer with, a nonprofit organization with, from VMware to AWS. So before I do that, let me give you a little bit more detail about me, my team, who I am. So I've been with CDW for 17 years. I've been actually working with the nonprofit teams for the last 2 to 3 years. So I have experience in the nonprofit space, but I'm continuously learning. So obviously learning from my conversations with you all as our customers. CDW has had a dedicated nonprofit practice for over 15 years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing within the industry, what we're seeing within our customer conversations, which I'm assuming most of you will agree to. And then I will talk about how CDW and AWS partnered with the CDW specific and AWS specific expertise to support this customer's migration from VMware over to AWS. And then obviously there's going to be some next steps, including visiting me at the booth that you can find right by the keynote speakers. So I'm going to build this all out for you before we continue. All right, so the 3 things that our customers and the organizations we're talking to, 3 things they're focused on this year are enriched customer experience, customer being to you all or nonprofit organizations, potentially your donors. How are you engaging with them? That can also mean how you're engaging with the people taking advantage of your programs. How frictionless is it for them to be taking advantage of your programs, the donors to be engaging with you? And then in addition to that, how efficient is it internally for your staff members, right? So that ties right into the operational efficiency that you can see here as well. I'm going to speak to a case study that ties into cost savings, all right? Most of us are very familiar with the expenses that can align and the complexities that can align with migrating from VMware to a different environment, right? There was an acquisition made by Broadcom last year which sent people on a path to understanding and exploring different ways that they can support their environment, which ties directly into the cost savings and operational efficiencies that customers are asking for or nonprofit organizations are asking for. So as you've already heard, AI is very important and a hot topic. We love talking about it. Cloud complexity, cybersecurity. Okta was just on stage speaking about that. The way that we're getting there and supporting our organizations with it is through data strategies, digital skills. We're seeing a gap in skill sets, right? So we actually have staff augmentation, different ways that we support you with bolstering your IT team to make your operation run more efficiently and effectively. Risk management, partners like Okta and various other cybersecurity organizations and partners that we work with day in and day out. And then that aligns with our cloud operations. How are you using AI internally? How are you going to keep your data secure? How are you keeping your donor information secure? So depending on the organization, we all help with that as well. So CDW is a very large organization. We do act very nimble, though, and have the ability to do so. The other thing that we have done within the past 5 years is make a lot of acquisitions. I'm going to call it one that's on this slide, kind of towards the bottom there, Mission Cloud. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with Mission. They're an AWS-specific organization. So CDW, we listen to you all. We like to understand where your pain points are, and then we either solve them for you with our staff, or we look at organizations like Mission to then support you in a more effective manner. So Mission Cloud is now a CDW organization. We acquired them late last year. They are new coworkers to me. I'm learning all of their names and everything like that, and I'm also learning a lot about how they work with our AWS customers. But professional services, migration assistance, assessments, managed services, they all can do it, help you understand your costs. So if you want to learn more about that specifically, again, my name is Erin. I'll be at the CDW booth outside the keynote sessions. So excuse me as I click through some of these slides here. But one of the things that I also like to call out is that Mission falls up through our digital velocity practice. Like AWS, CDW also uses a lot of acronyms and a lot of names, right? So through digital velocity and our practice, The Mission Cloud team now will roll up through this organization. We can do a lot more than maybe what you or your teammates back at home or wherever your organization lie might understand. CDW has a whole practice built out for hybrid and multi-cloud environment understanding and assessment migrations. We have an app development arm, right? We can provide understanding around data and analytics. In addition to that, we are also heavily invested in the generative AI space, making sure your goals and initiatives are being met by our teams. So I mentioned that I'm part of the nonprofit team, but look at all the other verticals that we support. So one of the greatest things about being part of the nonprofit organization, which again has been around for the last 15 years, is that I get to tap other people within our CDW walls that align with nonprofits as well. So there's blending sometimes. There's healthcare, right, that can bleed into the nonprofit teams and organizations, right? There's also government, things like that. So what I am able to do as part of the nonprofit practice is not only share exactly what our customers are telling us, that's going to be important to you. Whenever we're having conversations and bringing resources on the phone with our account managers or our sales teams, they're bringing people that are focused on nonprofit organizations as well. In addition to that, I've had to do this many times. Hey, we have a need for a healthcare person who understands exactly what in-home care means and how to help with that. So I can tap our healthcare counterparts and bring resources in to speak specifically to that. Right? So it's just the power of CDW, if you will, all aligning behind the different verticals. So the main reason I'm here today is to talk about the migration process that we assisted a customer with. So this is a large in-home care provider in the Midwest. They have over 11,000 people taking advantage of their program, over 87 counties in the state. They have over 1,000 staff or employees within the organization as well. So the customer knew they had to come into, or they knew they had to address the rising costs of their VMware renewal in early 2025. So they had to start conversations last year and determine where their workloads were going to land because they were not open to continuing to move forward. They partnered with AWS. AWS showed them the way, if you will, right? Hey, this is what we can do. This is how we can support you. This customer and organization is also a very strong CDW customer. And they came to the account manager and said, hey, we're looking to move over to AWS. How can you help us? Well, CDW in 2024 built out an entire practice specific to VMware migrations. So yes, we can help you. We also are one of we are AWS's biggest partner. So yes, we are going to continue to help you because we are going to have a strong partnership. We are going to be on the same page and we're going to make this possible for you. So through different programs that everyone has available to them, and depending on where you are in your cloud journey, we would tap those various programs for you. But the different programs, including MAP, which is the Migration Acceleration Program through AWS, including CDW's program that we built out for VMware migration specifically, we're able to actually drive the cost down of the migration by 99% for this organization, which is great. So we're like, awesome, let's keep moving. Well, then the customer also explained that, yes, we want to do this, and now you've shown us that we can. However, I also am paying for a co-location facility that I have to keep paying through 2024. Okay? So back to the drawing board, how are we going to make this possible? Because we need to give them access, move the workloads months beforehand. So our teams and engineers, as well as our AWS counterparts, came to the table and said, hey, what are you looking to consume this year, right? Meaning, what else do you need to do? It turns out this organization needed to acquire or procure security software, right? They needed to make a decision, and they were buying some new software through AWS Marketplace, which then tied back into driving down consumption costs. So the fact is that CDW, we transact through AWS Marketplace as well. So that organization was able to procure their software that they needed for their security practice to then unlock rebates available to them to drive the consumption costs down. So they were able to drive consumption costs down with the last 3 months of 2024. They were able to cut off and cut the co-location cord, if you will, and move into 2025 using AWS. So what did they say with cost savings, right? I talked about the 3 outcomes: cost savings provided, future operational efficiency, they're now in AWS. Moving forward, they're poised for success and nimbleness. And then on the back end, the customer experience and their experience internally with their staff is going to be affected and improved, right? So we're hitting on all 3 of those things. And the moral of the story, I would say, is that between our partnership with AWS, there's a lot that's possible to you, but you just have to ask us, right? So if you want to talk about assessing your environment, if you want to talk about, this is where I am today, by 2026, we need to be here. How are you going to map that out? That is what we do all day long with our customers and organizations similar to yours. We also will go to bat for you when needed and work out into a solution that is going to make sense and feasible. 2025, in terms of your budget, probably looks a little bit different than 2024. We recognize that, so we're invested in making sure that we address that for you. So engage with your CDW team. If you don't know who that is, my name is Erin Brewer, and I'll be at the keynote speaker session right the booth right there. So come connect. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. We have the expertise. We're always willing to give advice. Advice is free, right? If there's anything you want to do, hop on a phone and have a conversation. That's what we're here for. And we appreciate the time. I appreciate being here. This is my first Imagine conference, so I'm very excited. AWS has an infectious vibe to it, right? So I hope that you come say hi. I hope that you got something out of this presentation today, but I look forward to meeting you all later. Thank you.